That's right,
All
Star
right,
Wars,
so
bitches.
Nobody's gonna jump in the breach there. Good God.
It's usually Jay's Jay's time.
yeah. All right, so welcome to our 2013 season preview show. Our guest for today, the one, the only MLS analyst, Mr. Matt Doyle. Matt, welcome back to the show.
It's good to be here, guys. How you doing?
Oh, fantastic, nervous, flop sweats, you know.
Yeah, 48 hours
usual.
or 72 hours out, rather, for you guys.
How pumped do you get in the days leading into the MLS season?
Well, honestly, this year I'm completely exhausted just because we've been doing so much with the website, and I've been doing a lot more travel this off season, just in terms of covering combine, draft, preseason, all that. So I haven't even really been able to step back and take sort of a global view of it. It's just grinding out, one story after another, whether I'm writing or editing or shooting videos, and so it's not really pumped at this point. It's more relieved. This is the first year. Yeah, I'm relieved. Now that the season's here, I can relax a little bit and let the games do the talking.
So we're just gonna jump into the Red Bulls first, and we know how new everything is. They gutted so many players, coaches gone, new guys brought in, preseason not looking great. How long do you think it's going to take for this Red Bulls team to actually mesh into a cohesive unit?
With the Red Bulls, it goes one of two ways, right? Either they end up meshing by, say, the end of the first month, and they then play really well, and then blow it up again in midseason, or they never mesh at all. So I'm going to say, because I think the team really does believe in Petke, and they have a ton of talent, I think that it's going to mesh fairly quickly. The question will be, do they have the patience and the confidence to ride it out? Because there's going to be a couple of bad results. There's going to be maybe a losing streak or a couple of squandered opportunities. And in the past, New York teams have always sort of panicked at that, started throwing darts at names on a paper and signing anybody they could. If this team can avoid that, I think it could be a very good year for New York. But it's a lot of ifs, and there's a lot of precedent saying that they're not going to avoid that.
It's funny because one of the big things everyone's been writing about is what is the leash for Mike Petke with not only the organization but the fans. I mean, we know how much the fans love the guy as a player, as a person. What do you think what kind of start do you think the team's going to have to get off on for the pressure to just get a little bit off of him?
I don't think the pressure will be off of him until he brings home a trophy. And I think that'll be true for every New York head coach from now until the sun dies and we're just a floating speck of rock in the middle of a great cold beyond. It's just the way it is. I think with big market teams, you have to bring trophies to the club. Once that happens, you get some leeway. Until that happens, you don't get any leeway. And it's just a matter of, I think, less about the fans and more about having the locker room on his side. If he is able to maintain that, then he should be fine.
With a lineup like this, do you really think there's any excuses not to be a big championship contender?
Yeah, I think there's a really, really good excuse. Last year, the top 9 teams in terms of ball recoveries, winning the second ball, all made the playoffs. The only outlier was Real Salt Lake. They were, I think, 13th in terms of recoveries, but they allow fewer possessions than any other team in the league because they play such an intricate possession game. They don't allow you to go at them as many times. So they were kind of an outlier because they're an outlier in terms of how they play. The Red Bulls were in that group, but with the shifting roster, with the shifting lineup, and with really only one ball winner in midfield, I think they might be in trouble there. Now, Dax McCarty's really, really good, and I think he should be in the national team, but he can't do it all on his own. So Tim Cahill's got to drop back a little bit deeper. Fabian Espindola, who I guess will probably be on the left flank, Lloyd Sam on the right flank, they'll probably have to drop back a little deeper and do not only chasing, but ball winning in the central midfield, pinching in. If they don't do that, then yeah, that's a really good excuse for the team not performing well. Because if you're not not even dominating, if you're not competing in that section of the field, you can't win soccer games consistently. I don't care how good your forwards are.
Jay?
Honestly, I'm drawing a blank at the moment, so go ahead, whatever you got.
These guys are terrible. Listen, I'm just going to run the show. I don't even know why we got.
Hey,
it's just me, my podcast.
We're totally professional here. Just remember that.
I will say this: Juninho has done some decent work in terms of pressing passing lanes during the preseason, and I think that's promising. But I haven't been sold on that move at all since he came in. Obviously, it'll be nice to have a late game free kick specialist for New York. I guess Roy Miller will have to pass that duty along, but so much of the game is going to be about the ability to capitalize on forcing other teams into turnovers, and I don't think he helps you there. And I think he and Cahill have some overlap in terms of where they want to play, not necessarily how they want to play. That's got to get sorted out really, really quick.
Tim Cahill, he now has half a season under his belt. He's got a full preseason. Do you think that's going to help a lot, or do you really think that's not going to matter too much?
I mean, obviously it should help, just because, he's a smart soccer player. He understands the importance of team. I mean, this is a guy who's coming from Everton, not Manchester United. He plays for Australia, not Brazil. He knows that the team has to be greater than the sum of its parts, and I think he has the right attitude. So it should help. But he is probably going to be asked to do a little more defensive work than he's ever done, certainly at the club level, and with any player that can sting. So, it should work, but Petke has to manage the situation. It's in his job description.
It's funny. We were talking to Mike Petke at the ESC Christmas party, and we mentioned how it was nice to see the team was kind of becoming an MLS club, not we're just going to go out and get guys from all over Europe. But then they got Juninho. So I don't know. I think we just might have thrown that out the window. Do you think Juninho is going to be able to handle the style of MLS play?
I think in terms of possession and attack, he'll be fine. I do worry that, again, defensively, he has to do probably a little more work than he's used to. I know Lyon were a very, very good defensive team for a very, very long time, but they had a lot of guys who were happy to make up for his shortcomings in that realm. So I see how he can fit, and I see why you make the move. I don't think I would have made it. I think I would have tried to work from within the league, find another central midfielder. With Jeff Lorenowitz being on the block this winter, that I think that maybe is kind of a missed opportunity. He would have been an ideal pickup to play alongside McCarty. So it's New York year after year after year. There's always going to be question marks about fit and about functionality.
And yet, it seems like this team has done the old, hey, we have that as extra designated player spot. We'll just wait till the summer window and see what we can get out there.
Yeah, it's kind of terrifying, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. I mean, it seems to be the way this team's been operating for the past few years. Is don't worry about the first half. We'll get by. We'll get by, and then we'll bring in a guy in, and we'll kind of screw everything up because this guy has not played with the team. But that's what else is new with this team. Right,
and it was. I thought it was very frustrating last year when they had that good run in May and I think early June, relying on a lot of the guys who had been around since the offseason, who were MLS veterans, even though none was an all-star. They pitched something like 5 shutouts in 6 games, and then
Yep.
they broke it all up. They broke it all up to get Rafa Marquez back into the lineup. That's the most New York thing ever. So it's got to change this year. I really, frankly, I hope they don't use the third DP slot.
You know they will. Come on now. Who are we talking about? We're not talking about
true.
Columbus Crew. Come on. We're talking about the Rebels. You know they will.
That's true. Well, let me ask you at this point: do you guys have any hopes for that this summer? Like any names in particular you'd want to see them bring in?
I honestly couldn't even speculate. You guys? Anybody? Speculate? Anyone?
Obviously, Kaká's the name that keeps coming up, but do I want him?
And where do you play him?
Yeah, exactly.
If you already have Juninho and you already have Tim Cahill.
Exactly.
I'd rather wait and see how first half of the season goes. If we're really going to go out for a third TB, I'd rather see what we need at that point instead of just going out just for the sake of doing it. But let's switch topic. Let's move away from the Red Bulls and to MLS in general. LA won the last 2 MLS Cups. Do you think they're still the favorite since they've lost Beckham and Donovan's apparently on a vision quest for the next month and a half, whatever the time frame is?
Yeah, I think as long as Bruce Arena's the manager, they're favorites. And I think you could say almost the same thing about Houston with Dom Kinnear. There's just there's a lot of data points suggesting that the best way to guarantee yourself a shot in the postseason is to hire one of those guys as your manager. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that, especially Beckham. As great as he was, I would argue that the team actually played better at times last year with the combination of Juninho and Sarvas in central midfield. So I think the Galaxy go into it as favorites, not necessarily as much as they were last year, but I mean, you just can't go wrong betting on that team and that manager in particular.
Yeah, Red Bulls. I remember when they had Bruce Arena too. God, this is more painful memories.
Yeah, an unhappy chapter in the franchise history.
So last year you were definitely the great prognosticator. We talked about who you thought was going to be the best team. You got that right. We talked about who was going to be the worst team. Well, you got that right too. Even though it's not too hard to guess Toronto because they are god awful. So this year's picks, who do you think will be the best team and who do you think will be the worst team?
Well, I picked. We've been running a pick'em series all week on the website, and I picked Sporting Kansas City to win the Supporter Shield. But I did have to be talked into that a little bit. I'm concerned that without Kamara, without Espinoza, their pressure won't be as effective this year. Like I said, I had to be talked into it. I do think they'll be better at sort of reining in and controlling the tempo thanks to Russell and Feilhaber in the central midfield. But, a lot of it comes down to Bieler. If he can finish, then KC will be looking pretty good. The other thing is that the other, very, very good contending teams, I would consider Houston, LA, maybe San Jose, again, maybe Seattle, maybe Salt Lake. They're all going to be dealing with a ton of missing players during the Gold Cup and during World Cup qualifying. So I think KC will be less affected by that. They'll have a full team for longer, and they have more looks to throw at you. So KC for 1. For 19, I haven't really made a prediction. I kind of want to see Chivas USA first.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, it seems like a disaster on wheels. It really does. However, a lot of the guys who have been jettisoned, guys who are good, respected MLS players, and have no reason to talk nice about Chalice, still talk nice about Chalice. They still say, you know what, he's got a vision. I buy into it. I'm not there anymore, but he knows what he's doing. So I think a good manager can definitely take that team off the bottom rung. Toronto is still in construction mode. I mean, they have half a roster at this point, so they're a good bet. I think Philadelphia could end up being pretty bad this year. So
Yeah, keep talking about that. Let's hear it.
if there's a dark horse team, to be really bad, I think it's the Union.
Oh, I love it. Well, they're not the Union this year. They're actually the Bethlehem Steel.
There you go. Come on, it's nice to see teams salute their past and the history of American and Canadian soccer.
Yeah, team that played 60 miles away 80 years ago. It's sickening. Makes me mad.
Well, you guys
I live 20 minutes away from where they used to play. It upsets me. It physically pains me. What do you think is going to be the surprise team, either good or bad? And don't say bad Red Bulls. I don't think we can handle it this early on.
I do think Philadelphia could surprise and end up being pretty bad. That's something that you definitely have to keep an eye on, because obviously their off-season or their preseason results kind of speak for themselves, and I don't think the pieces really fit. I don't like the Red Bulls. They don't have the talent to get 50 points anyway. So I think Philly for kind of surprisingly bad, surprisingly good. I'm not sure there is a team. I don't think there's going to be anybody who kind of comes out of nowhere. Everybody knows the Whitecaps have real potential to be good. Everybody knows that as long as David Ferrer is healthy, then Dallas has a chance to be really good. Same thing with Higuain in Columbus. So I think those teams have a pretty high ceiling. Maybe not as high as a KC or an LA or a San Jose, but they just come with a lot of ifs. So no dark horse for the Shield this year.
All right, we're gonna go to our chat room for a question. Jimmy would like to know, who's the first coach that you see being let go this year?
Ooh, I don't like to speculate about that, to be honest with you. I think a lot of teams are too fast to close the book on certain coaches, and I don't see a coach out there who doesn't deserve at least a full year. So I'm not even gonna throw a dart at that one.
Fair enough. I can't really blame you for that.
So before we let you go, just tell us the Red Bulls are going to be in the MLS Cup final. Just do it. Just tell us. Give us some glimmer of hope.
I'm not going to tell you that. I will tell you this. I think there's going to be more of a esprit de corps among the group this year. Petke cares about the team in a way that I don't think Baca did. And I think pros know other pros, and they'll pick up on that. And I think the bad times will be a little easier to take, and maybe the good times will be a little bit gooder than they have been in the past. But I'm not gonna do anything insane like predicting New York in a cup final of any stripe. Sorry, guys.
What about an Emirates Cup final? Can we at least get that?
Oh boy, you guys got it. Emirates
yeah,
Cup final.
All right.
Maybe
That's
not.
good enough for
Maybe
me.
not 2013. Maybe down the road again sometime.
All right, so I think that's it. Matt, thanks for coming on the show again. It was nice having you on as always.
It's good to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we're writing it down. KC and Philly. I'm writing that down, so we'll see what happens at the end of the year.
There's no guarantee on Philly. No guarantee. I said might. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
All right, Matt. Take care.
Thank you. All right, so I want to thank Matt again for coming on the show.
Super genius, Matt Doyle, I think we have to say. That man is just a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah. And we really wish we could keep him on longer, but we didn't. He had other commitments, so unfortunately he couldn't stay that much longer.
Yeah, you guys gotta speak up more of the rest of the show. I've been carrying it so far.
And now for the final 40 minutes, Pat censored.
All right, so before we let Pat carry the show from now on, we had our first question of the week, and it was, and this is before we get to our season preview stuff. What position has you worried the most? Forward, midfield, defense, keeper, or coaching?
The
To
answer
start
was
with our
everything.
Facebook, starting with our Facebook responses, Thomas Binkley said management. Wasn't even a choice, but I guess kudos for thinking outside the box on that one. Tom Shadowski says forward. I mean, we did have a player who could score goals. I wonder what happened to him.
I don't know who he's talking about.
Yeah. I'm not sure who that is either. Tom, you got to be a little more specific on that. Brett Gamet, defense and coaching. It's going for 2 for there. Jake Oliver, still no width in the midfield. Except for maybe Sam. He's got a point about that. Jimmy Cates, Southward Unity. Really thinking outside the box with that one. But also the back 4. And Tom responds to Jimmy that Southward Unity is at full strength. So I guess Jimmy was a little wrong about that.
We always are until we start, and we'll see what happens.
And last one from Facebook, Lawrence White says, the only position I'm concerned about is New York's at the end of the season, MLS Cup or bust.
Amen.
And we had 2 Twitter responses. First from Bob Larson. Goalkeeper. Once Mara comes back and is healthy and we have 2 guys MLS ready to go, then I'll feel better. And the second one from our good friend Tim Hall. He said the groundskeeper, when Pat asked him if it was the guys who twist the sprinklers, he had to clarify. He clarified it saying it's the head groundskeeper then. So thank you for those that wrote in for our question of the week, and hopefully we'll have some good ones as the season goes along.
We also,
So, now-
I don't know if, wait, we had one more from Derby, FIA _Derby.
I
Definitely
must have missed that one.
defense.
My bad.
Holgerson not happy. Olave injury prone. Roy Miller is Roy Miller. Pierce hates his best position, and Connor Lade is a midfielder. Amen to all of that.
Yeah,
So what do you guys
That
think?
one. I'm sorry about that.
What do you think? What's your the position you're most worried about?
I'm gonna have to go with defense. It doesn't seem to be particularly settled at the moment. It's made a lot of had a couple crap goals given up, and it's just been shifting around. Olave, as good as he is, you gotta hope he stays healthy. So for me, it's definitely the back line.
I'm not really sure. Nobody really stood out as having a great preseason, so I'm not really that confident in anybody in general. So I'm kind of worried all over the field, I guess. But I mean, it was preseason, so I can't get too upset over it.
Right.
But at the moment, nobody really is making me feel all that confident.
But I'm going to go
Like
with
I
Bob
said, it's
Larson.
preseason, so.
I'm going to go with Bob Larson and say goalkeeping, especially with Ryan Mayer's not back. Robles, can he repeat the second half of the season that he had last year? I don't know. I mean, it's just this. It's always the bugaboo of this team is goalkeeping, and we were kind of blessed last year. We had some good goalkeeping, which never happens. So that's really where I'm worried about. I mean, I think the other positions are going to come together at some point. Hopefully, within the first 4 games, they're going to come together. Yeah, let's hope the goalies don't make a lot of mistakes. That's all.
All right, so now for our season predictions for the Red Bulls. First, let's start with the regular season, where we think the Red Bulls will end in October at the end of the regular season. Pat?
Somewhere around the bottom of the playoffs, like 10th, maybe even out 11th, somewhere near there, that area.
Yikes!
Wow, that's really harsh.
It's look, we're really happy to see an MLS guy as the head coach, but Jason Kreis didn't have a great first season. Ben Olsen didn't have a great first season. I love Petke. I do. I want to see him, and I think our talent's going to keep us competitive. But I definitely think there's going to be some hiccups along the way.
I think the difference between Kreis and Olsen is that they didn't have Thierry Henry. And I think the team is going to I think they're going to finish top 3 in the Eastern Conference. I really think. I don't think they'll finish first. I think that probably will go to Kansas City again. And I'm much like Matt when he talks about Houston, how good Houston is. Houston just always shows up when they have to show up. Always. That's just what they do. They kind of diddle through the first half. I mean, last year was a little different because they had all those away games. But at the end they show up. And yeah, I think third is definitely the place where they can end up. I think they can push to second. I don't think they're going to get first. I don't think they're going to win the Supporters Shield. But I think definitely top half of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, you can't expect this team to finish anywhere even close to Shield. And I hate to sound negative like that, but that's just a realistic look at it. On the other hand, though, I don't think that they're going to miss the playoffs this year, only because of Henry, Cahill, Juninho, and I just have this feeling that this team is going to. I mean, it may take a few weeks, but this team will come together and have at least a really great first half of the year. Now, with summer coming along and this team's propensity for going out for a third DP, that's probably will change a lot of things. But I think it'll be a little bit like last year, where you had a rough month and a half, and then the team just all of a sudden gelled and got on a little bit of a streak and got that cushioning in to basically coast. Sounds bad, but coast them into the playoffs like they did last year. So I'm gonna go. I don't think they're gonna finish in the top three in the East. I'll say fourth or fifth. I just don't see them falling out of the playoffs. Pecky has just too much passion for them to fall apart. Like that was always the big thing with Hans. Is he always seemed to lack passion when it mattered. He never really seemed to get upset. Where Pecky, I remember the pinnacle moment for him, at least as a coach. I think it was 2 years ago. New York was at KC, and I forget if Henry got himself ejected in the first half or not, but Tina Savacci did an interview with him at halftime where I was pretty sure I almost saw a vein pop out of his head. Like, that's how pissed off he was at the performance in that first half. And that's something that this team is needed as out of a head coach the last few years. So I think that will help with the veteran leadership that this team, while they may not make top three, I think they're definitely at least going to make the playoffs this year.
And I think another big point is the schedule really favors them this year. You have Philly, DC, New England all home twice. And I think that's big. I think when you get the rivals at home, twice a year. Hey, we were all talking last year. We thought they were going to just completely change the schedule and screw New York again. But they didn't. And I think the schedule's the biggest thing. I really think they're going to use that to their advantage. I really do. And if they need to scuff a little bit through the first couple months of the season and just get the quality home results and maybe struggle a little bit away, I'm all right with that, because can this just be the year where they have the strong second half? Because that's what they need to get past the first freaking round of the playoffs. You need that strong second half. If they just do like they do every year and kind of coast at the end, well, what are we going to see again? First round exit. So let's get hot at the end of the season. Let's get hot when it counts, when every other team gets hot. Come on. They can do it, for crying out loud.
I mean, I think they're going to need that. I really do. I think there's going to be a growing pain. I want to be optimistic. I really do. I'm not saying they're necessarily going to miss the playoffs. I think they're too talented a team to not, at the very least, be in the conversation and probably get one of those last wild card spots. But I think they're going to need that late surge, which, by the end of the season, I think it's reasonable to expect, Pecky and company to have it figured out. But I do think there's going to be a lot of struggles along the way. He's going to get burned. I mean, like, he looked good against that Swedish team in preseason, and then, he's a defensive guy, and we saw some severe defensive lapses in the rest of preseason. So it's worrisome. So, I would like to. I mean, that is one thing you did bring up, is that the schedule does favor them, but I'm crossing my fingers for now.
Hey, no 1 p.m. Wednesday games in 90-degree weather.
Hey, we won that one though.
But you know what I'm saying? We don't have to worry about that. There's not that many midweek games. Actually, in the couple midweek home games are against non-rivals, which is nice. All the rivals will be on the weekends. I'm telling you, I really think the schedule is going to play a big part in this team's success. We just need people to show up.
All right.
That's all.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the home opener, 12:30 p.m. on a Saturday. Are they actively trying not to get fans to show up?
Well, I think I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but I guarantee that's a 1 o'clock kickoff. But I agree. 1 o'clock is stupid too. It's really stupid.
It's
But
NBC game, isn't it?
Right? Yes, and that's
Yes.
why it's not. Don't put this on the Red Bulls. If it was up to the Red Bulls, they'd be playing at 7 o'clock at night on a Saturday. But it's NBC, and it's it'll be their game of the week. So, hey, I know what can you do? But you know what? It's the home opener, and it's the home opener, and people are going to show up for the home opener if it's 1 o'clock or 7 o'clock.
Hopefully.
Hey, I'm showing
All right,
up.
so I know I'm showing up. Before we talk about,
I
of course, you come down the one weekend.
I made a scheduling mistake, and I'll be in Baltimore.
Yeah, you're gonna come down. You're gonna come down to my area. The one weekend I'll be up there. Nice job.
I'm fairly certain that the scheduling mistake is not on my end, but whatever.
Do we need to get him on the phone then to get this fixed?
That's all right.
All right. So before we talk about Portland, who do you think is going to be the standout player for New York this year?
Pat?
Preferably, yeah, and preferably someone that's not already a big name.
Is Dax a big name? I mean, if you want someone that, all right, how about this? I'll go with somebody who's new that'll make the biggest impact. Spindler. I think Spindler is he's gonna mesh better with Henry than Cooper did, and if that was bad meshing last year, 18 goals. And he's got the speed of Luke Rogers. He's clearly more talented than Luke Rogers. So I think Spindler might be at least your newcomer who's going to make a big impact on the team this year.
I'm 100% with you. I think we said this to Matt, I believe before we came on the air. I think he's going to be the guy because he's got Thierry Henry with him. And he's going to listen to Thierry Henry, and he's going to do what Thierry Henry says. So, yeah, I really do. I really think he's going to score a lot of goals, like Luke Rogers did, like Kenny Cooper did. I think he's going to be the guy.
My pick is someone who did pretty well, but he only played a few games last year because of injury, and hopefully he can avoid the injury bug this year. If Lloyd Sam can stay healthy, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with, I believe, in MLS, because he's got the speed that Dane has. But the difference was that when he played, he showed, I think, at least in my opinion, a little bit more control than Dane had. And I think that's going to be... I know that if the preseason shows anything, we're going to do a 4-3-3, but having him being able to run up the flank like that and being able to hold the ball is going to be something that we will definitely need this year. So if he can stay healthy, I see him as the breakout player for this year.
Hey, all I ask of him is for him not to cross the ball to the other corner flag, a la Dane Richards. That's all he's got to do.
The only thing I'd have to say there is, according to Mr. Dave Martinez over at Empire Soccer, he has actually already been lapped by Ruben Bover. Ruben Bover is expected to get the start this week over Lloyd Sam.
And
you just cock blocked him right there. Huge cock block on. But that, I mean, let's face it, the midfield, that's going to change a lot. They'll be flip-flopping around. And
yeah.
So.
And especially with Pecky's, the fluid offense you hear about with Pecky, where he's not going to care as much about you staying in your spot, and means Henri coming back, means maybe Janito pushing forward at some points, even though I can't really see him doing that at his age.
No.
But with the fluid offense, while they're classified as a midfielder, they're not going to be a midfielder. They're going to be a... If we do a 4-3-3 and Pecky really gets his way, You're gonna see a combination of 5 people playing midfields and forward. So, all right. So let's move on to our predictions for the Portland match. Game is Sunday night, 7:30. I believe it's ESPN2.
Correct.
And thankfully, it's not a 10 o'clock game like the week after at San Jose, which I'll talk about that next week because that one really pisses me off. But anyway, Portland. Pat, what do you think?
I think initially going into the show, I was going to predict a loss, but think about that. Their roster is also kind of in flux. They also have a first-year head coach, although he has head coaching experience in college and that ill-fated Olympic qualifying campaign. But yeah, kind of in the same boat as Petke in some ways. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I'm leaning towards loss, but I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I just think right now it's going to be ugly at times. It's going to look good at times. It's going to be it's going to be your typical opening season match where a lot to be unexpected. But if they don't get a draw, I don't see the Red Bulls winning. That's for sure.
I'll make 2 predictions here. One is that Thierry Henry will get subbed off after he lightly gimps off the field because of that damn turf. It won't be anything threatening. He'll be back the next week, but you know him. He'll be upset and he'll be kind of limping off. And I totally see the 1-1 draw. I mean, you could just smell it. You can smell both goals in the first half, and then a big old snooze fest for the second half. I mean, you know, Portland, the fans will be fired up. They'll be doing all their kooky tifo and throwing scarves around and singing national anthems and probably score an early goal. But I think the Red Bulls are going to retaliate with one. Let's see, who's going to score? You know what? Let's just say Heath Pierce scores off a corner. Why not? Let's get nuts. But yeah, I totally see the 1-1 happening.
I'm going to go with the result that happened last time New York went to Portland. A crazy 3-3 draw where Thierry Henry taps the back of somebody's head, gets a red card with 15 minutes to go. Total chaos ensues. New York somehow gets a penalty kick in like the 5th minute of stoppage time. But instead of Devo putting it away, it's going to be probably Tim Cahill or Juninho to seal the draw for New York, but it'll be 3-3. A very back and forth game, in my opinion.
As long as Thierry Henry stays out of the box during the PK, right?
Yeah,
well, if he gets the red card, then he's not going to be in for the PK, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Good thinking. You're thinking ahead. You really got this like all laid out here.
Yeah. Either that or Pecky's going to sub him off right before the PK because he knows what's going to happen.
Yeah. We have a special guest prediction here. We also have Jimmy Cates on the board saying that they're going to win 2-1. I think he's a crazy man, but you know, someone's got to think they're going to win. Mike Donovan, who podcasts about the Portland Timbers, we talked to him last year. He came out here and visited. He predicts a 2-2 draw, and he's like, the Timbers will give up a lead. Come on, we all know that's going to happen. And he says that Diego Valera will be the Timbers' man of the match. I guess he will be if they don't also release him because they've been seen to release guys, trade guys, picking up guys the week before the season starts. So, but Mike Donovan is going 2-2. So that's our enemy prediction right there.
All right, and we're going to open up the phone line for a few minutes. So call us at 973-679-4541 or on Skype at Red Bull Rant. That's all one word. Let's see. In the meantime, what else can we talk about? Oh, let's talk about the Red Bulls' third jersey, or new jersey, I should say. That looks just like the old one.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting. Oh man, a red collar! I'm so pumped. Oh, red collar! Oh.
Hey, you're forgetting about the red armpits.
Oh. Yes.
Oh, red piping. Woo!
I'm really glad they had a massive publicity event to release that jersey.
Oh man, I'll tell you, people must have freaking done somersaults when they saw that because that was crazy looking. Oh man.
What about the numbering on the back?
When I saw it, pooped my pants, and it was
what
really
about the
embarrassing.
red number?
Because I was looking at my phone.
What about
and I was like in public, and I was like, ooh, and like some kid was like, "Mommy, that adult pooped his pants." And I'm like, "It's gonna happen to you one day, kid. When you see a jersey this nuts." Oh man, red stripe, amazing.
What do you guys think of the new numbering for all the teams this year?
Huh? Who cares? What? Really, that's
just
probably
waiting
the
for the
most
day where
exciting thing for the jersey is a number. Oh man, new number design.
I'm just waiting for the day that Adidas is not the official sponsor or the official kit maker for the whole league.
I think it's coming soon, right? I think they only have a couple years left or something like that. I think it's
Hopefully.
pretty soon. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, they're really. That's one of those areas with a single entity just completely screwed over the league because if each team was allowed to find their own jersey sponsor, that makes so much more money.
Oh yeah,
So,
for sure.
Really, I mean, then again, Columbus would make like $10 as like Timmy's Jersey Shop, like on the Ohio State campus is like sponsoring and making their jersey.
They just have an old lady on a loom, just making
And it's
shirts
just like-
one at a time.
And like Columbus Crew, and it's just the Ohio State Buckeye symbol. You're like, that's what your jersey's gonna be, and you're gonna like it. You're like, okay.
Hey, I love the Colorado home jerseys, and it's awesome. They have all the season ticket holders' names on it, but there's only not even 2,000 names on it. Ugh.
But
Come on,
as,
Rapids fans, buy the season tickets.
as terrible as they are for MLS, give them credit. They sold out that U.S. qualifier like in 2 hours after
Of course they
public
did.
on sale. So, and I'm gonna be there.
Woo! You're going to
That's
the Big
my-
Dick.
That is if my plane doesn't crash. But, whatever. Yep, the big dick. I'll be there.
Big Dick. We should also mention that the Philadelphia Union are trying to steal the tradition of a team that used to play 80 years ago. I'm sorry, I can't get over it. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. They have absolutely no history. So let's just take the Bethlehem Steel's history. Yeah, we know they have been defunct since like 1930. And we know they play about 60, 70 miles away. But yeah, that's all about us. Yeah, we're representing. Yeah.
I'm a history
Tell us
fan,
how you-
so I can get behind it, even though I hate all things Philly except that. It's the one thing I'm like, I'm a history buff. I'm down.
So, one more thing. The predictions this year. We're going to change up how we, quote, score it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, throwing a little curve on here. Last year, we kept separate standings for the win-loss draw prediction and the scores. This year, we're going to combine them. A correct win-loss draw prediction is going to be worth 1 point. Correct scores is going to be worth 2 points. So we're going 3 points per game here.
All right, let's get nuts.
We're doing
And
single
we're including
table.
all-
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Single table this year. So we have all 6 of the writers that cover the Red Bulls are going to be in this. So that's myself, Pat Truman, Zach, Craig Taylor, and Pete Urich. All 6 of us are going to be in it. We're going to figure out something to wager on it at some point in the season because we have to have a trophy or something for the winner. We in the offseason we kind of talked about a WWE belt, but I'm not sure how that will go over since only a few of us actually like wrestling at this point.
Yeah,
Repo Man,
that's true.
So we'll see.
And I guess we're also doing
All
a fantasy league if anyone wants to get on that too. Fantasy league.
Yes, I was going to do that during the wrap up, and since we're not getting a phone call, let's do the wrap up now.
Well, I got so
So-
much more to talk about. We got so much more time. I have so much to talk about. Come on, we got 15
All right,
minutes here.
all right.
Let's ride it home, baby.
Okay. What do you want to talk about then?
The sweet unofficial New York Red Bulls app. I know we mentioned it before, but goddamn, I love that thing.
I can't
That
use
thing-
it. I have an Apple. I have a Mac.
See, just throw that phone in the garbage. It is trash. This app, I should be getting paid for this because it's how much I like this app. It's so awesome. Gives you Empire Soccer, gives you the NJ.com, gives you our podcast, gives you the Sing Red podcast, the official site news. The only thing it needs to do is actually have be able to play video on the site. But man, I love it. It's awesome. And have you guys updated the MLS app?
Yeah, I did. Yes,
They have the
No, but
spoiler updates.
And they have MLS Live integration this year too.
Yes, It's great. We're talking apps.
Yeah.
We're making money. We're making somebody money. Someone just downloaded
MLS
a free
may be
app
paying
because of
us
us.
soon.
They better. Listen, if they can pay Matt Doyle. They can pay us. Come on. We just totally pimped out their app.
Pay the man.
And Matt Doyle the same way.
That's right. Pay Matt too. Just pay everybody. Let's get nuts.
All right. Fantasy League. So MLS scrapped their pick'em game this year, so we do not have a pick'em game for you guys to join. But we do have a fantasy league at fantasy.mlssoccer.com. Our code is 2274-1368. It's a classic fantasy league, so everybody against everybody. There are head-to-head leagues, but there was a cap on people, and I didn't want to have that. So I don't remember who's in the league at this point. I know we have like 10 or 12 people.
I'd probably get in that, huh?
Yeah, you probably should.
Probably.
My team is called Viking MD. Ha ha ha. Let's see. We have right now Katy Perry lovers.
Ooh. All right. Yeah. Hello. We're 12 years
Fresh
old.
to Death CF. I like this one. Dirty Jersey FC.
Oh, that's a good one.
Red Bull CT. So I guess we have somebody, a fan in Connecticut that listens to our show.
Crazy people.
FC Ironbound. I like that name.
There you go.
Pisco. Masal. I can't even say this one. Hopefully I'm going to say it right. Masal Bugdov United.
Giggity.
I don't know how that deserves a giggity, but okay. FC Route 17. Nil.
We know where you live. Nil. That's the name of the team.
Yes, that's the name of the team. Nil.
Nice. I like it.
And then these people must be siblings. Chudley Cannons and Chudley Cannons FC.
Someone
you go.
registered their team twice. That's what happened there. Someone's cheating.
Yeah. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's 12 teams right now, including myself.
And I'll be in there, so there's 13.
Yeah, Pat should be there, so that's 14.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I remember. We remember how good I was at Pick'em last year.
Listen, all you got to do is pick
Yeah.
players. Just keep them on the field. That's all.
Well, and keep them under a salary cap.
Yeah, all that
$100 million.
stuff. If it's legit, if it was the MLS salary cap, it'd be like $5. You just have to trade away all your players except for like one guy.
And no player be worth more than $5 million.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, can't have that. Can't have
Where
that.
the cheapest player on here is $4 million. I mean, I don't know how they get away with that.
Who knew Connor Lade was so valuable?
I already
Alright,
don't even
so-
know how to join the league. I'm like,
Check
I'm like,
emails.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll walk people through this. So when you sign in on the upper bar, you'll see a bar that says home, my team, transfers. Hit the leagues button. Then you'll see 3 buttons below that. Join a league. Hit that one.
definitely
choose
don't have
private
those
for the-
buttons.
Then you're not logged in yet, are you?
No, it says log out, so it must be logged in. Booyah!
Log in, log out, log it up, log down.
Anyway,
Get
when you join
down,
the league,
get down.
click private league. Then hit next and enter the code that we gave you, which is 2274-1368. Burp not included.
Oh, now just anyone can join our league.
That's right.
And don't forget design your uniform too. Kind of cool little
Oh,
feature.
mine's gonna have red collars and red piping.
Unfortunately, you can't pick the collar color separate from the jersey.
Oh,
I know.
son of a
You can pick
bitch.
2 colors for your jersey. You can pick some stripes. You can pick a different one for your sleeve, and then your shorts is 1 color.
Yeah. Red piping.
I'm the bumblebees with the red sleeves. That's what I am.
Screw
All
this.
right.
I'm not going to try and join tonight.
All right, so unless either of you have any last things to talk about, I guess we can wrap up, right?
Let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's roll. We'll have plenty to talk about next week when something pisses us off.
Yes, because something
Yeah.
certainly will.
All right, so you can email us during the week at redbullrant@gmail.com. You can call us at 973-348-5329. You can call us on Skype at Red Bull Rant, which is all one word. Visit our website at redbullrant.wordpress.com. On Facebook at facebook.com/redbullrant. On Twitter, our show's handle is at Red Bull Rant. Mine's at Dr. Stooge, DOCTASTOOGE. Pat's at PMACD82. Truman's at The Truman. And as always, if you listen to us on iTunes, leave us a rating. And you can now listen to us on Stitcher Radio if that's your preferred method. We also have the, quote, video version available for you on iTunes. So however you want to get your fix of us, you can get it. Do either of you have any last thing to say before we go?
Oh, I got one thing. Oh, God. It's going to feel
been a while
so
for
good.
this.
It's going to feel so good. Yeah, win, baby, win.
Yeah, go win.
That's so weak. It's a season opener. Come on.
Come on, let's win, you sons of bitches! Is that better?
Yes, much.
There we go. Got some passion going in here. All right, so for all of us from the Red Bull Rant, this was episode number 47. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, go Red Bulls.
Peace. Lights.